Hello students, I hope you all are doing well. So let us start with a very interesting and a new chapter, A Letter to God. The house, the only one in the entire valley, sat on the crest of a low hill. From this height one could see the river and the field of the ripe corn dotted with the flower that always promised a good harvest. The only thing that the earth needed was downpour or at least a shower. Throughout the morning, Lancho, who knew his field immediately, had done nothing else but see the sky towards the northeast. So what is happening here, students, in the starting, that there is a person named Lancho and he has a field and he is waiting for the rain to pour. Now we are really going to get some water, women. So now Lancho is saying that we are going to get some rain now and the whole field will be harvested and I will go and sell all my harvest and we will get paid for it. The woman who was preparing supper means food, replied, "Yes, God willing." The old boys were working in the field, while the smaller ones were playing near the house until the woman called to them, "Come for the dinner." So now Lancho's wife made a dinner and she called everyone to come and eat their dinner. It was during the meal that, just as Lancho had predicted, big drops of rain began to fall. In the northeast, huge mountain of clouds could have been seen approaching. The air was fresh and sweet. The man went out for no other reason than to have the pleasure of feeling the rain on his body. And when he returned, he exclaimed, "These aren't raindrops falling from the sky. They are new coins. The big drops are 10-cent pieces and the little ones are 5. So now Lancho is very happy that rain has finally come and और उसकी पूरी फसल क्या होगी, वो उपजाऊ हो जाएगी, ज़मीन उपजाऊ हो जाएगी और उसकी पूरी फसल तैयार हो जाएगी और वो जब बेचने जाएगा तो उसको बहुत सारे पैसे मिलेंगे जिससे वो और उसकी फैमिली बहुत ज़्यादा चीज़ें कर सकती हैं या मज़े कर सकती हैं फॉर द सर्वाइवल. With a satisfied expression, he regarded the field of ripe corn with its flowers draped in a curtain of rain. But suddenly a strong wind began to blow, and along with the rainway, large hailstone began to fall. So अचानक से क्या हुआ students कि hailstorm मतलब मोटे मोटे ओले गिरने लग गए उस फसल पे और फसल क्या हुई, पूरी की पूरी खराब हो गई. Are the hail rained on the house, the garden, the hillside, the cornfield, on the whole valley. The field was white as it was covered with snow. Not a leaf remained on the trees. The corn was totally destroyed. The flowers were gone from the plants. Lancho's soul was filled with sadness. So Lancho ने सोचा था कि उसकी फसल बहुत अच्छी होगी इस साल, पर क्या हुआ, तेज़ आंधी और बारिश के साथ में बर्फ़ भी पड़ने लगी और सब जगह पूरी वैली पर बर्फ़ पड़ी और उससे क्या हुआ, उसकी कॉर्न की फील्ड या जो भी फसल उसने बो रखी थी इस साल वो सारी नष्ट हो गई. A plague of locust would have left more than this. The hail had left nothing. This year you will have no corn. So now Lancho is saying that the plague of locust, मतलब locust क्या होता है बच्चों, एक तरीके का जानवर होता है. So now Lancho is saying that a plague of locust would have cost him less of a damage than this hailstorm. That night was a sorrowful one. All our work for nothing. There's no one who can help us. So now Lancho is very depressed, he is very sad, and now he is saying that there is no one to help us. We'll all go hungry this year. So Lancho is telling his family that इस साल हम लोगों को खाना भी नहीं मिलेगा क्योंकि सारी फसल क्या हुई, खराब हो गई. In that solitary house in the middle of the valley there was a single hope, help from the God. Don't be so upset even though it seems like a total loss. Remember, no one dies of hunger. So now Lancho got a little of hope, and now he is saying that no one dies of hunger and I will write a letter to the God to provide me food. All throughout the night, Lancho thought only of his last one hope, the help of God, whose eyes, as he had been instructed, sees everything, even what is deep in one's consciousness. Lancho was an ox of a man, working like an animal in the field, but still he knew how to write. The following Sunday at daybreak, he began to write a letter which himself would carry to the town and place in the mail. It was nothing less than a letter to God. So Lancho sat down and wrote a whole letter to God that God should help him in this days of disparity. God, he wrote, if you don't help me, me and my family will go hungry this year. I need 100 pesos in order to sow my field again and to live until the crop comes because the hailstone. He wrote to God to the envelope and put the letter inside, and still troubled went to the town. In the post office he placed a stamp on the letter and dropped it in the mailbox. So now what Lancho is doing here, students, he wrote a letter to the God and he actually went to the town to drop it in the mailbox. One of the employees, who was a postman and also helped at the post office, went to his boss laughing heartily and showed him the letter to the God. So one of his employees actually read the letter which was written by Lancho. तो क्या हुआ, जब लेटर मेल बॉक्स में और पोस्ट ऑफिस में पहुंचा तो पोस्ट ऑफिस के एक कर्मचारी मीन्स एम्प्लॉय ने उस लेटर को खोला और पूरा पढ़ने लग गया. एंड द एम्प्लॉयर and everyone in that post office, they all started laughing. Why? Because Lancho has actually written a letter to God. The postmaster, a fat, amiable fellow, also broke out of laughter. So the postmaster, who was very fat and amiable, मतलब बहुत ही friendly इंसान था वो भी क्या हुआ, हंसने लग गया लैंचो के इस लेटर को देखकर और पढ़कर. But almost immediately he turned serious and tapping the letter on his desk commented, "What faith! I wish I had the faith of the man who wrote this letter, starting up a correspondence with God." So now the head postmaster is saying that the person who wrote this letter, he had such an unshaking faith in God that he has actually written a letter to the God. So in order not to shake the writer's faith in God, the postmaster came with an idea to answer the letter. But when he opened it, it was evident that to answer it he needed something more than a goodwill, ink and paper. But he stuck to his resolution. He asked for money from his employees. He himself gave post of his salary, and several friends of his were obliged to give something for an act of charity. So now the post headmaster, he took upon himself that he wants to give and write back to Lancho, but with writing back to Lancho he needed something else or something more than just the letter or a goodwill. What did he needed, students? He needed money, more money. So what he did, the post headmaster, उन्होंने क्या किया अब बच्चों, उन्होंने अपने कलीग्स को, अपने फ्रेंड्स को पूछा और बताया इस स्टोरी के बारे में, लैंचो की स्टोरी के बारे में, एंड दे ऑल केम टुगेदर टू कंट्रीब्यूट इन दिस थिंग. So it was impossible for him to gather the 100 pesos. So he was able to send the farmer only a little more than half. पर क्या हुआ, पोस्ट हेडमास्टर जो थे उन्होंने सबको पूछा पर वो कुछ ही पैसे जमा कर पाए अपनी तरफ से चैरिटी में। जिन लोगों ने भी चैरिटी दी उन्होंने अपनी सैलरी में से भी कुछ पैसा लैंचो को देने का सोचा। उन सब ने इकट्ठे किए पैसे लैंचो के लिए एंड he put the money in an envelope addressing to Lancho and with it a letter containing only a single word as a signature God। और उन्होंने क्या करा, एंड में सिग्नेचर कर दिया गॉड के नाम से, और जो भी पैसे इकट्ठे हुए थे वो लैंचो को लिफाफे में डालकर भेज दिया। The following Sunday, Lancho came a bit early than usual to ask if there was a letter for him. It was the postman himself who handed the letter to him. While the postmaster, experiencing the contentment of a man who has performed a good deed, looked on from his office, Lancho showed not the slightest surprise on seeing the money. सच वॉज हिज कॉन्फिडेंस। मतलब लैंचो को बिल्कुल भी शौक या सरप्राइज नहीं था उन पैसों को उन एनवलप में देखकर, क्योंकि उन्हें पता था कि गॉड रिप्लाई करेंगे, पैसों के साथ में करेंगे। पर आगे क्या हुआ? बट ही बिकेम एंग्री व्हेन ही काउंटेड द मनी। गॉड कुड नॉट हैव मेड अ मिस्टेक नॉर could he had denied what Lancho had requested। पर क्या हुआ, वो पैसों को देखकर थोड़ा दंग रह गया, क्योंकि उसने तो 100 pesos मांगे थे, बट God actually gave him very less than what he actually asked for, so Lancho got very angry. Immediately Lancho went to the window to ask for a paper and an ink. On the public writing table he started to write with much wrinkling of his brows, caused by the efforts he had to make to express his ideas. When he finished, he went to the window to buy a stamp, where he licked and then affixed the envelope with a blow of his fist. The moment the letter fell into the mailbox, the postmaster went to open it. It said, "God of the money that I asked for, only 70 pesos reached me." So now लैंचो ने क्या करा, दूसरा लेटर लिखा, क्योंकि लैंचो बहुत ज़्यादा गुस्से में था कि मेरे पास इतने कम पैसे कैसे आए जबकि मैंने तो 100 pesos मांगे थे। तो लैंचो सैट डाउन एंड रोट अ न्यू लेटर। और उस लेटर में क्या लिखा उसने गॉड से लिखा कि गॉड, मेरे पास में सिर्फ 70 pesos पहुँचे हैं आपके, सेंड मी द रेस्ट सिंस आई नीड इट वेरी मच। और मुझे बाकी के पैसे जल्द से जल्द भेज दीजिए भगवान, बट डोंट सेंड इट टू मी थ्रू द मेल। पर मुझे मेल के द्वारा मत भेजिएगा, क्योंकि बिकॉज द पोस्ट ऑफिस एम्प्लॉयर्स आर बंच ऑफ क्रूक्स। और लैंचो ने क्या लिखा कि जो पोस्ट ऑफिस के जो भी एम्प्लॉयज़ हैं वो लोग ख़राब हैं, हो सकता है उन्होंने ही मेरे पैसे चुरा लिए हो बाकी के, और मेरे पास तो सिर्फ 70 pesos पहुँचे हैं, बाकी के पैसे हो सकता है मेल और या पोस्ट ऑफिस वालों ने चुरा लिए हो। तो दूसरी बार अगर आप भेजें तो मेल से बिल्कुल मत भेजिएगा मेरे पैसे। So this brings us to the end of the chapter, students. I hope you all enjoyed it thoroughly. Thank you.